Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I guess we are going to get started in just a few minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everyone.
Good to see everyone. One of these days, we'll meet in the flesh.
One of these days.
When it's all over.
That's it.
When it's all over. But right now, so thank God we do have these platforms to communicate with the folks that we serve. And I thank God for that. We're going to go ahead and get started following the agenda. If everyone's ready, it looks like we have quite a few participants logged in. So for the sake of time, Anthony, will you go ahead and begin with the welcome for us?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. DaCosta, and good morning to everyone, to all of our panelists and our virtual guests out there. We want to welcome you on today for joining this historical event between the Commission for Minority Affairs and the Small Business Administration. I'm Anthony Brockington. I'm the Small Business Program Manager here at CMA, or the Commission for Minority Affairs. And just a little bit about today's event. The Commission for Minority Affairs and the Small Business Administration have joined together in a common mission, and that is to help start, maintain, and expand small businesses. The purpose of this Strategic Alliance Memorandum is to develop and foster a mutual understanding and a working relationship between the SBA and the Commission for Minority Affairs in order to strengthen business development. The Commission for Minority Affairs and the Small Business Administration will work together in the spirit of cooperation with the primary goal of meeting the needs of the small business community here in the state of South Carolina. Through information sharing and a collaborative partnership with such agencies, but not limited to, the Small Business Development Centers, the Women Business Centers, and SC and other agencies and nonprofits, we will make available to those individuals seeking to start, maintain, or expand their business virtual workshops, conferences, and other activities regarding SBA financing, government contracts, and other important business topics. This partnership today serves as a vital strategic alliance in the state's business ecosystem for the small business community. Again, I want to thank you on today for joining this historic event. And now we'll turn it over to the Commission for Minority Affairs Executive Director, Dr. Dolores DaCosta.
Thank you, Anthony. I am Dr. Dolores DaCosta. I'm the Executive Director of the Commission for Minority Affairs. This is my third year here at the Commission, and we are doing some wonderful things here. Before I proceed with signing my part of the agreement, I'm going to give you just a little bit of an overview of the Commission itself. The Commission was started back in 1993 as an organization to study the socioeconomic deprivation in African American communities. In 2003, that scope was expanded to include Native Americans, Asian Americans, and the Hispanic Latino communities. We added the Small Disadvantaged Business Division because we knew that throughout all of these populations, they had similar issues when it comes to small business, whether it's business development, financing, whatever the needs are. So therefore, we saw that it was necessary to create the Small Business Development Division. The Commission's focus is primarily on research. We collect data and we share this data with different government agencies, the General Assembly, or any other organization who has need for information regarding minority communities. when it comes to the business community, it is important for us to make sure that we have an adequate database of all minority business owners here at the commission, because those numbers are the numbers requested by the General Assembly when it comes to funding. It's the numbers that we use to determine or to assess the needs of small businesses, and these are small minority businesses in the state of South Carolina. If you have not registered with the South Carolina Commission for Minority Affairs Small Business Division, please go to our website and register your small business. It is important that we develop this consolidated database to use for future reference in addressing your needs. We will not know how to handle your issues if we don't know that you're out there. This database gives us a tool to go back to and to work with as we develop different strategies and how to assist small minority business. So please go to our webpage, sign up for our business directory so that we can keep you informed with the things that are going on here at the commission. And also we can tie you into our partners if you have a problem. We can tie you into the many business partners that we have, whether it's banking, whether it's SBA, whether it's small business development centers. Those folks are our partners. They are the experts in the area. Our job is to connect the dots. We bring you together with these organizations to make your businesses healthy and sustainable. Here at the Commission for Minority Affairs, we are here to bridge the gap between cultures and communities to create opportunities. We look forward to the discussion or the information that will be shared today with the Small Business Administration, and we look forward to future trainings or any other kind of informational services that we can do together to make sure that all of our small businesses are adequately informed about the resources that are available to them, and to make sure that we are doing everything that we possibly can to help you become resilient, especially during times like COVID, where we need all the assistance we could possibly get to help you stay afloat. At this time, I am going to sign my portion of the agreement. And because we're on social media, we'll have to send it over to Mr. White, and he will sign it, and then we will post a completed document once that is done. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to SBA. I have enjoyed talking to you briefly this morning. You know our webpage, cma.sc.gov. Please contact us, and we will do everything in our power to assist you and your small business needs. Mr. White.
Dr. DaCosta, thank you very much. And Anthony, thank you very much for participating in this. We are excited about this opportunity to partner with the commission. Your goals and our goals are the same, to reach out to underserved areas, minority businesses, disadvantaged businesses, to get them the focus they need to expand their businesses and operate their businesses. We do that by have 4 areas that we concentrate on. We have it with capital, which Mike and Angela will go into that a little bit different detail. Capital aspect, those are our lending programs. We have our counseling programs through SCORE, Women's Business Centers, SBDCs. We have those around the state where people can go, small businesses can go and get direct one-on-one counseling for that. Contracting, where we're supposed to look at how many small businesses are receiving their fair share of the federal contracts and how we can assist them through that process. And then finally, one of the big ones we've been dealing with over the past year and a half, disaster assistance, whether it's a hurricane, tornado, flood, or in this case, with a lot of help effort for a small business, have been the COVID relief efforts that we've faced our programs on here recently. All these are available to small businesses that are trying to expand, save, or recover from disaster. But it is our pleasure, because your goals are the same as ours, and we're excited about this partnership to reach out to minorities in the areas that are needed in underserved areas, and provide these services to them so they can grow and expand their business and recover from a disaster. So we are pleased to participate in this. Mike and Angela are going to go over the details of the different programs we have, but we're excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and sign mine. I don't have it on the paper, but I'm going to sign mine. And I'm going to hold it up. So I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see. No, you can't see it, but I've signed my document, and
Okay.
and we will make sure that when you submit yours over, I'll sign it again, and we'll have a formed copy available for everyone to see. But this partnership will not be just a lot of words. And Mike and Angela know this. One of my big peeves is that we sign a piece of paper and it just sits there and we don't look at it. We require whoever's assigned to work with you, Angela in this case, to perform an action plan. And that action plan consists of what will be done with this agreement, how we're going to perform, and what results we're going to achieve. And it'll be done on an annual basis, and then we'll monitor it throughout the year. So with that, congratulations, Dr. DaCosta. It's a pleasure to partner with you and Anthony. Thank y'all for participating and be willing to let SBA partner with you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and I'm going to be quiet for a while because I'm what's the word? I'm a man of a lot of words, but the knowledge racks with Mike and with Angela. So I'll sit back and let them do all the hard work now.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Mike Corp. I'm the Deputy District Director here in Columbia, South Carolina. And we also have on Angela Brewer. She's one of our business opportunity specialists. And, just everything everybody talked about is, I won't rehash all that, but that's what we're here for, to form partnerships like this. And we have some formal ones we'll talk about. And Dr. DaCosta already mentioned a couple of them, SBDC SCORE, Women's Business Center, and we'll get into that a little bit. Just a little background on me. I'm a retired military, so I'm sure we have some veterans on. Thanks for your service. I retired back in the early 2000, worked in government contracting for about 8 or 9 years and came over to the SBA. So we have a lot of good expertise in some of the areas we're going to talk about. Greg has the banking background, and we have veterans in the office, women, minorities. So we have a very diverse office, although we're small. We count on our resource partners, which we consider you one with this formal SAM signing. So we'll get into the slides a little bit. And while I'm pulling them up, I'll let Angela introduce herself for a minute.
I thought it was going to be the first day I never had to talk.
Angela, you always want to talk.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angela Brewer. I am also a veteran. On the best side of the military, I was in the Army. I served 23 years in the Army, active duty and reserve. My background is HR, so it was a pleasure learning the contracting side of the house. So those of you who are interested in federal contracting, I'm currently in a 6-week series with Francis Marion Kelly Center, breaking down the contract and walking through how to register SAM. So that's the side of the house that I work on. I know a little bit about the loan side. I don't deal in it because I like spending money more than I like to do the business side of it. So I stay away from the loan side, but I can talk a little about the loan side. I do a startup program. It was a business smart program. So I'm a BOS, business opportunity specialist, but Mike has me doing just about everything. So I can generally answer just about any question that anyone may have. I think Mike has my email address on the slides. So if you have any questions after this, you can always reach out to me. Thank you.
Great. We'll go ahead and get started. Can you see that first slide, that pretty SBA slide up there? All right. And today, Angela mentioned it too. We do a lot of classes, and today we're just going to do kind of an overview of what, here's some of the things the SBA does, and I'll point you. And again, these slides, we should be able to get a list of attendees, and you'll have our emails. I see there's about 100 people on, and we will follow up and send you a copy of these slides and probably a couple of links and things of that nature, we'll send an email out, so you won't have to, plus it's recorded too, but we'll try to send a copy of the slides out to all attendees. And we'll get started here. Hopefully. Okay. Oh, let me see what's going on here. Oops, all right. I see what happened here. Okay. Having a little trouble with the slides here. Getting them to
It's called technology.
Yep. Here we go. I think I got it. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Oops, now I'm going way ahead of myself. All right, I'm back on track. Okay, so here's what and I heard a couple of these words here in the introduction by Dr. Costa, start, grow, expand, and recover. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Whether you're starting a business or you're in business and you're looking to grow or expand, or in the recovery aspect, we've all been involved in that in one way or another with the pandemic going on. And I'll try to stop after each area and ask, if there's any questions, or you can put them in the chat, and we will open it up for questions at the end also. So here's our resource network, and we talked, and this is nationwide. There's some resource partners that are approved and funded by the SBA. We have over 1,400 partner offices nationwide. And when you look under here, find local assistance partners near you, and we're going to point out some of those anyway. But that site, SBA.gov, that's always, if you don't remember anything else, always go back to that site, and it'll get you where you need to go, and you'll have contact information for our office also. So here's our first resource partner we're going to talk about, SCORE. They used to call it Service Corps of Retired Executives. They tell us they don't use that acronym anymore, but these are our mentors. With SCORE, one-on-one mentors throughout the state. They can sit down and talk to you. These are people that have run businesses before. And what they do is, if you sign up for a mentor, they will try to match you up with somebody who is familiar with the particular area that you're interested in, whether it's like restaurant or some kind of small store or construction or something like that. They'll try to match you up with somebody, and you'll have these links to. We have SCORE mentors throughout the state. There's plenty of them, and there's a couple links here. One to the SCORE website, score.org, and the other one is going to go to our South Carolina resource guide. If we were doing this in person, it's a nice little magazine we pass out, but you can download it too, and it's actually very good to have that electronically, because you can do searches and there's all kinds of hyperlinks in there, so you can find just about anything on our resource partners. And they do classes too. When you go to our website at sba.gov/SC for South Carolina, and I'll reiterate that again, we have a calendar of events on there, and all our resource partners, if they ask us to put it on the calendar, we will. If we're participating in an event such as this, we will put it on our calendar, and also send reminder emails out for upcoming classes. We do a newsletter every week, and there's going to be a link coming up that shows you how to sign up for that too. So our small business development centers, they can get you in a little more detail, do market research. Like if you're starting a business, they can, I always use one of the examples they use is, if you were looking to start a restaurant in downtown Columbia, they have all kinds of data and information where you can get, the estimated foot traffic at lunchtime and dinner and things like that. There's all kinds of information they have to offer. And we count a lot on our resource partners, especially for the startup area. Like if somebody's going to start a business and you need help with a business plan and things like that, preparing your business plan to go into a bank to seek a SBA loan or any kind of loan, really. We really count on our resource partners throughout the state. I believe there's like 23 of them throughout the state. And again, to the right there, you have their website directly, and you'll see their classes. They will post them on their website too. Same with SCORE. And again, also in the resource guide, we have a list of them also. And really a lot of the information we're going to talk about today is in the resource guide. Last but not least, and we have our women's business centers. Just about a year and a half ago, we had no women's business centers in the state of South Carolina. And now we have 3, which is amazing. And they are all outstanding resources. We have the Columbia Women's Business Center right here in Columbia, Benedict College. And we've had a long relationship with them. In fact, we started off with a SAM agreement with them, and now they're one of our business centers, women's business centers. Greenville, we have one up in the Greenville area, and we also have one in the Charleston area. And they focus on women-owned small businesses, but as they'll tell you, they help everybody. So another great resource, and that's our 3 that are funded. Well, one more, take that back. We have also a Veterans Business Outreach Center, and this is on our radar. We work very hard to get those women's business centers in the state, and we're very happy to have 3 of them, and I think they're all going to be very successful. They do an amazing job already, especially with the pandemic going on too, because all of our resource partners have assisted in that too. We also have, for military veterans, we have the VBOC, the Veterans Business Outreach Center. And I say we have it, but they're actually located in Georgia, and they cover our area. One of the goals that Greg and I have is to get our own VBOC in the state of South Carolina. Then we, how you say your glass is half full. And that's our final. If we could get a VBOC on board, that would be great. We do boots to business classes all over the military bases throughout the state. Of course, we've been doing them virtually. Normally we do a combination of virtual and in person anyway. So we also have, again, I mentioned we have, let me see, Angela can correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have 4 veterans and a military spouse right in our office, our small office of 10 people. So we know how to get you the information you're looking for. But this is another resource here out in Georgia. They do cover our area. And if you know any military veterans, this is a good website to point them to also, besides our own. And of course, there's us. We don't want to leave the SBA out. Just some contact information right there. We're at 1835 Assembly Street normally, on the 14th floor. We normally, under normal conditions, you can walk into our building. It's a little difficult at times, airport style security. And of course, we've been mostly working from home throughout the pandemic. And we spend a lot of time out and about too. We don't sit in the office anyway. Normally we're out doing these events. So like today, we normally would do this in person. So hopefully we're all looking forward to making that happen again. There is a main phone number there, 5377. Wherever we are, if we have our laptops, it rings all 10 people in the office. So somebody will definitely answer the phone, and you can leave voicemail there, but we don't count on voicemails too much because we try to pick up every call as they come in, at least during normal business hours. There's also a South Carolina general email. And I mentioned to the right there, work with us. That's our main website. SBA.gov SC for South Carolina. You can click on there. And if I have time, I might, yes.
I might want to correct our phone number on that slide. Instead of 5337, it's 5377.
Oh, yes. Thank you. That could be a problem.
Yes.
5377. I will correct that before we send the slides out too. Thank you. Okay. So that's our main website right there for South Carolina. And again, at the bottom of that, you'll see a calendar calendar of upcoming events, and just go on there when you get it. As we're talking, you can go on there now. But there's events upcoming. Try to plan ahead, but they pop in and out all the time. So keep an eye on that. You can also download our office directory, which would have the correct phone number on it, or the main number, and also a number and email to every person in the office. I should have mentioned this earlier. We have what's called the alternate work site, one in Charleston, South Carolina, William Furman, one deep position there with a separate office. And we have one in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Valerie Torstensen. And they're on our directory, so you can get to them too if you happen to be in that area. It's always good to contact them. Upcoming events, I already mentioned that on our calendar, but there's also this link here. You can click on that and sign up for emails, and you don't get junk email. You'll get once a week, you'll get an email that shows all the upcoming events. In fact, there was the email that went out either yesterday or first thing this morning had this particular event on it. Some of you might have seen that. It goes out to 30,000 people throughout the state. A few handouts, and there's about 20 of these, but these are the ones I'm going to try to focus on today. I'm going to probably go through the slides and then come back to the handouts because they get in just a little more detail, although it is at a broad view for federal contracting funding and disaster prep. So we'll come back to those, whether I click on the link, I have them opened up also. We're going to talk, are there any questions on just the contact information? If anything in the chat that I'm not monitoring the chat, but if Greg or Angela see anything significant?
No, there's no question on contact.
Okay. And then,
the resources.
And that's the basic information of, some of our resource partners and things like that, where to find help. And again, we're doing a kind of an overview today. You're going to be interested, I'm sure, in some of our upcoming classes. So let's talk about building capacity as your business develops. You'll see the grow and expand areas. So federal contracting, and that's one of the first questions that, if you're just starting a business right now, you may not be ready for federal contracting. Even if you're in business, you still may not be ready for federal contracting. You need to really think about it, talk to us. We'll talk about some of the programs on the next slide, but anything you could want to know about federal contracting, that site right there at the bottom, sba.gov/contracting/contracting, will walk you through everything you could want to know about federal contracting. And again, we would always invite you to participate in one of the classes, like Angela is doing a 5 or 6 week series. And she's done some before. We finished one up with Benedict. We did a class where we really broke down each area into 1.5 to 2 hour blocks. We also do a 2 hour contracting 101 class. And we also do what we call a resource day, where we'll talk about your credit, business plans, and all the lending programs. So we're overviewing that today, but always keep an eye on upcoming classes. How can we evaluate your readiness? There's a lot of opportunities in federal contracting. If you fit the bill, if you do construction, IT, building services, landscaping, janitorial, those are some common ones. And even if it's not that common, there could be opportunities. We tell people, if you do construction, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's also a lot of competition. If you do something unique, we just had one of our new firms came in the program, and they do translator services, Spanish, Hispanic. So that is something we don't see very often. So I would see that as a niche market. So maybe there's some opportunities in that area that we need to explore further, because it ends up all being about your marketability and how you appeal to contracting officers if you're interested. And then you have to find the contract opportunities. And we're not going to get too far into that today, but you have to know the correct websites to go explore opportunities to compete for contracts. Here's some of our programs. The SBA, you know, our goal is that out of the $500 billion or so the federal government spends every year, we want at least 23% of that to go to small businesses. And I can tell you from being in the contracting field, I worked at Shaw Air Force Base, and we awarded way more than 23% to small businesses. I could count on two hands the contracts that went to large businesses. And when you look at some of those, you know, the really large construction contracts, planes, jets, tanks, nuclear, you know, those are going to large businesses. So within some of those areas, there could be subcontracting opportunities too. So there's a lot to explore. And again, we're just talking overview today. We'll get in more detail on a class if you're interested that you want to attend in the future. We have our preferential contracting programs, and we talk about trying to level out the playing field a little bit. First, we go from, we're trying to look for small businesses. Then within small businesses, we have these programs, the 8A Business Development Program. It's Small Disadvantaged Business Program for minorities who are economically disadvantaged and been in business for 2 years. That's the basic 3 rules, 3 requirements you have to meet. We'll go in more detail if you attend one of our classes. But if you're a minority and your personal net worth is below 750,000 and you've been in business for 2 years or approaching 2 years, you may be interested in the 8A program. Historically underutilized business zone, hub zone. This is based on where your business is located. There's actually a map. If you went to sba.gov/hub zone, you could look at your location. You can give us a call if you want to see if you're in a hub zone. So if economically depressed, high unemployment areas, that's one factor. Another factor is, I said high unemployment, so 35% of your employees must also reside in a hub zone. We have the woman-owned small business program. If you're woman-owned and you own and control your business, 51% ownership, which all of these are going to have. You have to have majority ownership, and it could be by multiple women, like 2 women can own 50% each. That's over 51%. And you can be considered for the woman-owned small business program. Last but not least is our service-disabled veteran-owned small business program. So if you're a service-disabled veteran, you basically can self-certify. There's what we call SAM, System for Award Management. We have a handout for that, and we'll probably send that out on the email, how to get registered in SAM, because that's the first step. You have to be registered in SAM, System for Award Management, to be eligible for federal contracts. The VA also has a program for veterans. They look at not only service disabled, but veteran-owned small businesses. So out of that, I know I said a lot in a couple minutes, but out of that, that should give you an idea of, you know, if you're interested in federal contracting, which programs you may qualify for. There's also, well, we'll send you some websites. There's a good website where you can go through a process and it'll say, am I eligible? Certified.sba.gov. You'll have that link in an email. You can go on there and punch information in on your business, and it'll tell you which programs you should be eligible for. And then you go from there. And it'll take you back actually to that website I showed you, the sba.gov/contracting. Are there any questions on contracting? Any burning questions that anybody has?
No, Michael, not at this time.
Okay. All right, let's talk about
Wait, Michael, hold on a second. Someone asked, is Colleton County considered a hub zone?
I would say that it's a very good likelihood, but the only true way to find if you're in a hub zone is to go on that map at sba.gov/hub zone. There is a big hyperlink. I think it's in big blue bold letters. You click on there, punch your physical address in, and it'll tell you whether you're in a HUD zone. And by the way, during the class, because I would encourage you, we'll probably have a class in August, by mid-August. Yeah, Contracting 101 at least, and you can tap into Angela's current class. And we actually go on that website. Usually when we get to that area, I'll say, does anybody have an address they want to punch in? And we'll demonstrate that for you. And you could always get back with us if you have an address, and we'll help you determine if you're in a HUD zone too.
Yes, actually, I'm doing a class on the 10th. So if you go to the South Carolina District Office calendar, sba.gov/SC for South Carolina, you can register there.
All right, let's talk a little bit about capital here. Do you need money? A lot of times people think the SBA has a big checkbook and they give you money. We don't have the money. We work with approved lenders and who can offer you SBA-backed loans. So a simple way I like to explain it is as a veteran, when you buy a house, you go seek a VA home loan. So the VA backs the loan through the bank, but you still work through the bank. It's kind of transparent. We tell you about the programs and potential loan programs, and we get you in with a bank and see if you're eligible, and they will decide whether you fit into an SBA loan or just one of their loans. So that's kind of how that works. Competitive terms, rates, those are all posted on the website. Lots of flexibility there too. And here's some of I'm not going to read these all to you, but here's some of the things what you might be looking for in a loan. Whether you're starting a business, you think business plan, because when you walk into a bank, they're not going to just, you say, hey, I want to start a restaurant on Assembly Street, here's my plan, and you're just telling them, talking to them, here's what I want to do. You're going to have a business plan, and it's going to have to be very detailed, because of course they want to, just like anything else, they want a warm fuzzy that your business has a potential for success. Revolving credit, working capital, purchase, renovate, or expand facilities. A lot of good reasons you may be looking at an SBA loan, and this list is not all inclusive, so it's always good if you have some area that you're looking at to give us a call and see if it fits into one of our programs. I already talked about lenders want to know, and that's what I just started talking about. Lenders want to know they're making a smart choice by giving you a loan. They can help you. The resource partners, I mentioned them before, and SCORE, SBDC, Women's Business Centers. I mentioned that again because they really help a lot of people, especially in not just the startup area, but existing businesses too. They'll help you with business plan, expense sheets, financial statements, and projections, all the things that roll into really your business and your business plan. And this is kind of a starting point. If you go to Lender Match, and you'll see the website, and this will get you to one of our lenders. It'll match you up with one of our lenders, and you kind of describe what you're looking for, and some of the interested lenders will reply within 2 days. You talk to them, and then you apply for a loan. It sounds easy, it's not that easy, but that's the basic steps to take. And of course, when you look at again, and it really goes for any loan, they're going to look at your character. Have you paid off your previous debts and things like that? Sound credit report, steady payment history, things like that. Cash flow. Do you have the cash flow to stay afloat in your business? Collateral. We're always going to look for. When you apply for an SBA loan, just like any other, you look for skin in the game. You're going to have to put some money down to secure that loan. What's your owner's equity, your retained earnings, liquid holdings and things like that, capitalizations, and what conditions will affect your ability to repay the loan. That's always going to be important, right? The SBA backs the loan, but they still are, you know, they're going to do checks and balances, and they want to make sure the potential to pay back the loan is there, of course. I mean, that's common sense. See, I don't know if there was one more slide. Okay, one more slide kind of in this area, but it also crosses over into contracting. A lot of times, like when I worked in federal contracting, and if you did a construction contract, you would have to have bonding, which is basically like a security that if you walked off the job or something goes bad, you're bonded. We do have an SBA surety bond program. We have from time to time done classes just on this program. I tell you all about the surety bond program. We have providers similar to the loan area. We have approved providers in that area. We don't get too many calls on that, but if anybody is interested in that, give us an email and we'll get you into the right area. If you have any trouble finding it on SBA.gov, you can if I remember right, you can put SBA.gov/security bonds, or just type it in the search and it'll come up for you. Are there any questions on the capital area? And at the end here, we'll pull out a couple of our handouts that go, you know, tells you a little bit about each program, just to overview that, and you'll have copies too.
Michael, someone wants to know, does the PPP loan or the grants help establish business credit?
I would say no, because you have to have some credit to get one of the PPP loans. You know, they're gonna, when you do a PPP loan, that's part of it. They're gonna do a credit check on you, and they are pretty, you know, although that's ended already, but you know, PPP or SBA loan, they're always gonna look at your credit score before you get a loan at any bank. I mean, and that's not just the SBA. That's really for any loan. That's always a factor, you know, that goes along with your interest rate too. Even if you went to buy a car, they're gonna look at your credit score and go from there. Anything else, Angela?
No, I'm answering some of the things in the chat, but I know a few people have their hands raised.
Okay.
So we can answer that at the end.
Right. And what I'll do is after we get to the end, I'll try to pull up the handouts, and then it'll address each area again, and we'll open it up for Q&As while we're looking at that. Okay. So reimagine your potential to branch out. And, you know, really, when you look at that, before we get into what we're going to talk about here, when you talk about branching out, even in the federal contracting area or any kind of business, you may start off in a particular area. Construction is a great example, because you may have, say, an electrical company, and they may start off just subcontracting for somebody, a larger construction company. And then they start doing different areas. They start doing plumbing, drywall, things like that, to where if they're successful, they become a full construction company where they run the project, and then they get their subcontractors as needed. So I drifted off into contracting again there, because that's my nature, where I come from. Interested in international trade or exporting. You know, South Carolina is a pretty good export state. We have Charleston, we have you know, the whole coastline. 2/3 of the world's purchasing power is in foreign countries. So if you are interested in exporting, if you have a product you have where you think there may be export potential there, some construction companies work overseas on jobs too. So you have to, you know, it all depends where you want to go. You know, that's kind of, even when you're talking to people, CMA or whoever, or us, or our resource partners, you know, where are you today and where do you want to go tomorrow? So look at exporting as an opportunity there, if it fits. There's different ways you can get counseling. Again, you can get back to the funding areas. There's some opportunities there, but the starting point is always going to be, and our SBDCs are very good at export too. We have plenty of points of contact. Somebody mentioned that earlier. One of the goals, even whether you call our office, you call CMA, or you call one of our resource partners, we're always going to try to get you into the right area where that expertise is to help you succeed. All right, we're back to the recovery period, and you can imagine what that's about. Disaster. This is our typical slide. This is our normal thing. We're in that time of year where we have the hurricane season, and we have tornadoes here and there, and that they might affect a handful of people, especially tornadoes. Hurricanes a little bigger, right? A few hundred, few thousands. And now we have the pandemic, which has affected millions. Some of these programs, the PPP EIDL, Restaurant Revitalization Fund, a couple others, those are all pandemic related, and there's just millions of applications out there. So it's been a challenge. I'm sure some of you may have experienced some of the challenges with us. And one day we'll wind down and get to where we need to be. Cross our fingers. So right here again, website, prepare for disasters. There's a little bit of information here. Each year we provide billions of dollars in low interest long-term disaster loans up to 30 years. And any of these areas here can be affected. Economic injury, that's a big area right now. I just mentioned the economic injury disaster loans, which are still open on our website. PPP loans have closed. Okay, and I'm getting to my questions part, and I'll let Angela open it up for questions, and I'll try to pull up the handouts real quick.
Sharice had a few people who had their hand raised that had questions. You can go ahead and allow those people to ask their question first, Sharice, before we go into the chat. Sharice?
Yes, I asking Ms. Gail, do you still have a question? You should be able to unmute your phone now.
No, I don't have a question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Virginia, do you still have a question?
And hopefully you can see that screen pop up there. Government contracting, is it for you? Can you see that, Angela?
Yes.
Okay, great.
No one else have questions? If no one else has questions, we have questions in the chat. I think there was one more person, Sharice, who had their hand raised.
Yes, we do. Mr. Lee?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So question I have is, of course, we in the security industry, which is 561612, which is the NICS code. And what we're looking for, I know he mentioned something about the SCORE program. Do you have any mentors that are actually a part of that program that fits our industry? And the reason why we're asking these questions as we navigate, we've been in business for 21 years, but we're now just getting into the federal workspace. Of course, we have a hub zones, small business and service connected disabled veteran owned business status we just received last year. And what we're looking for is, we know there's a lot of landmines, so to speak, as we start to move forward towards government contracting, federal government contracting. And the question I have is trying to find a mentor, someone who's navigated this before. I don't know if that SCORE program would have someone that meet that criteria. And more importantly, some of the criteria that we know we're going to need as we start to bid on these contracts. And one of the things that stands out is the security clearances. How do we go about, and this might be something we need to talk offline, but how do we go about obtaining the security clearance for the business, as well as the owners that own 20% or more of our organization? So that was the question I had. I didn't know if there was the appropriate time to ask, but that is on my mind, and I would like to someone to respond to me whenever the time's available.
Yeah, that's a good question. And no, score is mainly, like I said, for business startup. Once you get into the contracting area, to be honest with you, small business development centers, they have what's called a PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And we have 3 of them, although I think the one in Charleston is still vacant. We normally have one in Charleston, one in Columbia, which is Scott Bellows. And then we have Sherry Pittenger up in
Greenville.
Greenville. But then, within our office, and we have contact with some of the, well, not some of them, but all the agencies, DOD and otherwise throughout the state for federal contracts. So probably what I would recommend you do is sitting on one of our classes, and we can do a follow-up call with you too. Because, there's opportunities in that area, but the key is always to find them. And same with security clearances. That's always a challenge. The one thing I would say about that, if you're able to obtain the security clearance, that is a good thing to have for federal contracting, because not everybody can do that. Even when people just work on a contract on base, they have to go through a security clearance process to make sure they're authorized to even work on base, even construction contractors. And I can't tell you how many times when I was in contracting at Shaw Air Force Base, you get a phone call and security force is asking you, where is this contractor working on base, and is this person working on the contract, and they have to go get them and escort them off because something showed up in their background check. So yeah, in contracting, we couldn't possibly get into every detail on that today, but send us an email and we'll see if we can do a quick call with you offline and go into a little more detail.
Mike,
Mike, I think he means more towards equips when you're trying to get clearance, like going into spay war, where you have to have an actual security clearance versus a background check. But with equips, sir, you have to be invited. If you're going on base trying to get security clearance to work in a secure area, they will have to invite you, send you an equips invite for you to do the application in order to go through that. But once you get that, you can maintain that.
Mike,
There has to be an invite.
And you normally get that, when you're working on a contract. That's part of the process.
Yes.
Mike, this is Greg. I just wanted to add that SCORE does have a nationwide search for individuals that may be able to counsel them on specific. So if you go to score.org, you can look and do a nationwide search for a potential counselor, but not, if you want to get into contracting detail, I do recommend that you talk to our Mike or Angela after this to get more information.
Right. Okay, and just real quick, we'll take the next question, but this is the handout right here. And again, we have all the programs I talked about. We have handouts for each and every one of them that'll get, and they're basically going to end up getting you back into the website, but they're all really good. Like in normal conditions, when we do an event, we have a table set up, we have a bunch of handouts on the table, and you come up, and as the gentleman just asked, we would have had a conversation probably for 15 minutes on that topic at least. And then we have some of these handouts, and the first one, does the government have a product or service you buy? And that was just a good, perfect segue. Security, yes, there's opportunities there. And I thought you said you did security work, right? If I understood it right.
Yeah, I own a security company. We've been in business for 21 years, and
yep.
And we got a real good track record. But again, we're trying to learn this federal space. I haven't really explored this. When I started the business 20 years ago, of course, we went to the SBA, but we didn't have much success with working with the folks that we started out with. So we just kind of went at it by ourselves. But as we have traveled through the years, we realize there's an opportunity there that we can we need to explore. And so we're back. And the first thing we started working on was the certifications. And of course, we've obtained those. But like anything else, we just really roll up the sleeves and go to work. And we just need to figure out the best way to do it and how do we do it. The finance and the background, the work that we've done in the past, the stellar reputation that our company has, those things we've done the heavy lifting. And we feel like now is an opportunity for us to really shine and to offer our services and create jobs in the federal workspace. And that's what we're looking forward to doing.
Great. And you're a really good example of what we're looking for, because you look at the Strom Thurmond building and the security there, there's a contractor doing security there. As an example. Yeah.
And I am a veteran. I am a service-connected disabled veteran. I served in the 82nd Airborne, Desert Storm, all that good stuff. So if you got military people that's willing to help military people, we are that company. We're looking for help.
Well, Angela was in the Army. I'm Air Force. I think we have 2 Air Force, an Air Force spouse, and two Army. So we're always willing to help, you know. And I was stationed with the Army a couple times in my career. Anyway, but here, I'm not going to read these to you because it is stuff we talked about, you know, your capability. Of course, when you get a contract, when I was a contracting officer, the last thing we want to do is to have you get a contract and not perform or fail. Because when you know, if you fail, we fail as a contracting officer. Hopefully they all look at it that way, because that's what we're looking for. Credit worthiness, accounting system. Do you already have, you just said you do have some experience. It doesn't have to necessarily be federal, any kind of experience, state, local. It all merges together at some point. When we talk about contracting, you know, we're federal, but we work all the time with City of Columbia, different counties, state, DOT, everybody. We're all contracting. We all know each other. And where do you find opportunities? And, you know, see, when you look down here, ask ask Angela, you know, ask one of our business opportunity specialists. So the best thing to do is get into one of our classes. And it sounds like you already know, sir, your DUNS number, your NAICS code. You may have already registered in SAM, but that would be the first step. You know, we talk to you afterwards. That'll be one of the first things we'll ask you to do is register, make sure you're registered in SAM. Any other questions on contracting, Angela?
Yes, but can you or Greg address the EIDL? There's been several pop-up questions about EIDL. I would rather them email us offline, unless you and Greg want to do a generic, not a generic, but a general statement about, because people want to know they've applied several months ago, have not heard anything back. And I've seen several in there who's asking about the status of their EIDL. Do you want to have them email you offline and you can check it, or do you want to address now?
I would address all those questions to the points account. You can email me or Angela, or call call in our number 5377 is the best thing to do, 765-5377. And somebody will answer the phone. And there's also the general email, or you can email Angela or I. I will tell you, we are spending a lot of time on that because, again, millions of applications. There's a lot of questions. What's the status? And we don't make I would say we don't make the final determination on the loan. That's in Texas, the disaster office. So what we can do to help sometimes is we can, I shouldn't say we, because I'm the only one in the system right now, but we can get into the system, take a quick look, see where you're at, and then go from there with a follow-up if there's an issue that maybe needs further attention. So we're kind of in between, in a way, so to speak. Hopefully they're making progress. I know it's been a long road. Is dealing with IRS tax returns and things like that are pretty common. But yeah, it would be too much to get all into that during this. I don't know if Greg has anything else he wants to add to that.
Yeah, Mike, I'll add just this, and this is generically overall. If the system has just switched over internally from one office to the other, which has expedited it. The goal is to have most of the applications and everything processed by August the 3rd, I think it is. Typically, when the application reaches to a loan officer, it takes 2 weeks to get it through the processing. If it takes longer than that, then it's usually an issue where the loan officer has to have follow-up with the individual. So, but we do expect an improvement by the end of this month into the 3rd of August. You should see a lot more receipt. They've done some new algorithms that help process it a lot quicker, not just for the EIDL, but also the PPP program. So, but that's generic overall. But again, I'll go back to what Mike says. If you've got any individual questions, call our office at 803-765-5377. And we'll do an individual counseling with you.
All right, and hopefully you can see the one I pulled up, the funding 101. And we'll just continue on. Any more questions in contracting?
Yes, someone wants to know, I see, I'm a hub zone. Do I still qualify for minority women-owned small business? If you're a woman-owned small business that own at least 51% in that company, you can have all the designations that SBA provides. We have the 8A hub zone, woman-owned, and service area veteran, so you are not just limited to one. So yes, although you are hub zone, you can do woman-owned and hub zone. And someone wanted to know, do you need a clearance for janitorial? It depends on where you're working. I know with SBA, regardless of what it is that you do on that installation, which is located in Charleston, you need to go through EQIP, a background check, to get a security clearance to work on SBA. But when you're working in a federal agency, whether it be the Strong Thurman building, which we work in downtown, Fort Jackson or Shaw, you don't need a security clearance, but they will run a background check on you and your employees.
Yep. Good
Facility
answer.
Hello?
In
Hello?
contracting, a lot of times it's it depends question, answer. There's different scenarios, and Angela answered that really good. Yes, I heard somebody chime in there.
Oh, yes. Hi. I just had a quick question before you, because I know you guys got to jump off regarding the credit part. I was the one that asked about the credit. And what I was really asking was, I was told that the EIDL loans and PPP money would not help you with establishing credit. And I think you were going more on qualifying. I was talking more about building credit with your business, but I was also told that it will help build business credit. So I just wanted to get clarification on that. That was all.
Okay. Yeah. Phrasing it like that, it's just like anything else. If you have an approved EIDL or PPP loan, that shows that you were credit worthy for that loan. So yes, that would help. I'm glad you clarified that.
Okay. Thank you.
Someone also asking, do you all partner with FEMA for grants and loans? Or preparedness grants. All grants are located on grants. Make sure you add the s.gov. Grants are for disaster. SBA does disasters. FEMA, I'm not too versed on FEMA disaster programs, but I know SBA, like right now, we're currently going through the pandemic. And I know over the course of the last year, there have been several storms that has come through South Carolina. There are programs out there for that if they have not expired yet. But if you go to sba.gov/disaster assistance, you can pull up the different disaster programs that is there. But if you're still interested or you're being affected by COVID, you go to COVID, the number 19 relief with the F at sba.gov to apply for the EIDL. But any other disaster that you're looking for, you'll have to go to, like I say, sba.gov/disaster assistance. For FEMA, we'll have to look. Mike or Greg, do you all have any information about FEMA? Because I don't know about FEMA grants or disaster programs.
Well, let me just add that typically FEMA comes in, they're the first one, they receive all the applications. We usually partner with FEMA at a disaster center. We man the same offices with them. FEMA is mainly emergency relief and assistance. We come in with the rebuilding stage of it, the loans for the rebuilding the house, rebuilding the business, providing information to rebuild it. But FEMA is typically emergency relief efforts. But we don't cross fund, but we do partner with them in the disasters as they come forward. Yes.
Yeah, and on the contracting side of that also, when you register in SAM, System for Award Management, sam.gov is the website, and you'll have that. There is a check off there where it would say if you're interested in disaster, in this disaster area, like when we had that big flooding a few years ago, FEMA was out there looking for contractors, and they, we can come up with a list just by, besides the ones we may know that didn't check off that box. But if you check off that box, you might be contacted, and you never commit anything till you actually accept the contract. So there's opportunities out there when these disasters happen. depending what you do.
I think that's all the questions. Sharice, do you see any more questions that I did not cover in the chat?
In this handout, I'm not going to go through it. I'm not going to read it to you because you'll have it. You know, what do you need funding for? We kind of talked about that already. Do you need help with your business plan? And we talked about that. Resource partners. And it's not just SBA resource partners. It could be CMA or anybody. We have, there's a lot of agencies out there, and their goal is always going to be to help you, assist you in any way they can, and they're going to get you to the right area. Now that you have your and these are all the stuff I talked about. Kind of, you have your business plan and loan package ready. Contact the SBA lender to see if you qualify. So you're gonna want to do some, just like anything else. And here's some tips for what you're preparing to discuss. Your credit history, collateral, financial projections, all the stuff that goes into a good business plan. And there's an area even on the SBA website, like a template for business plans. SCORE has one, SBDC has one. They all might be a little different formatting, but they're all going to touch on these key areas. Which type of funding, and these are, again, we have separate handouts for these different types of loans. Whether it's a 7A loan, and you see what it's for: real estate, equipment, inventory, working capital, 504 loan, purchase land, heavy equipment, or real estate. Those are all three of these are very common. And then the microloan programs, you know, $500, 500 to 50K. Those are very common too. Small loans, you know, if you're just starting off, maybe that's all you need. And then you have funding from private investors, some of the different programs, small business investment companies, or small business technology transfer, innovative research. So there's opportunities. And again, you know, today's to get familiar with these. So if you start off and get into the right area, like just say if you were interested in a 7A loan, you could give us a call and we can talk about that. We'll send you that separate handout on the 7A loan that goes into a little more detail, discusses rates and things like that, and how much you have to put down, and all kinds of good information. Is there anything else, Greg, that you want to add to the loan area, lending area?
Well, there's two questions about loan.
Oh, go ahead.
One is, will the RRF be replenished?
I'll answer that. Right, you talking about the RRF funds? Is that what?
Yeah, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund.
All I can tell you is that Congress has it under consideration. It has to be congressionally approved funds, and we do not have any additional funds. All funds have been expended for that program.
And the other question is, will the funding cover a daycare?
Will the RRF funding cover daycare or?
No, just will funding, I guess, our lending program.
Yeah, that we have several programs that cover lending for that. If it's a micro loan, we have several micro lenders there. They can loan up to $50,000 to help a small business get started and expand. The 7A program, which is our guaranteed loan program, which we work with lenders, that one provides funding for daycares. And the 504, if you're going to build a daycare and want some good funding terms and rates for building the daycare, yes, that will also fund that. So several different programs for that. And as Mike was saying, we have lenders and partners, nonprofit partners. We have for-profit partners that have all different types of lending programs, from startup to expansion to grow your business. So yeah, we can help you in a lot of different ways. Just to call us and we'll talk to you about that.
And as Greg mentioned, we don't loan money, although there are SBA loans. You still must go through a bank, and you must have a business plan in order to get a loan that includes at least the 2-year cash flow projections. A lot of people leave that out. Sharice, you said Bakari Copeland has a question?
Yes. If you're able to, you can unmute yourself. It should give you the option now. Mr. Copeland? I see you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. If you would like to ask a question, you can put your question in the chat and we can get to that.
I see he put something in about revamping a Spotify business for South Carolina gang and violence prevention. Is that your question? Michael, you can go ahead and close it out.
Let me try to answer a little. If that's his questions, we do not loan money. Our program does not allow us to loan money for businesses or not to nonprofits except on a disaster case and disaster assistance. That's the only opportunity we have to loan money to nonprofits. We do loan money to nonprofits to establish microloan programs, but for nonprofits that are looking to expand their operator and need money for that, that's not part of our mandate through SBA.
Yep, and that goes for, and on the contracting side too. We work with for-profit businesses. There's a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, it's for-profit businesses. The last while I'm talking, the last handout, I've got that up there right now, disaster prep for small businesses, and we've talked about that. But this is actually a nice handout because it kind of makes you think, you know, while we're in that time frame, you know, what you want to do. COVID aside, be prepared, you know, assess your risk. And I hope everybody's done that. You know, if you have a business, you know, especially if you're in Charleston or on the coastline, Myrtle Beach or somewhere, you know, look at what's your risk factors, tornadoes for everybody, really. Create a plan. You know, what are you going to do when it happens? You know, like going back to that 1,000-year flood we had several years ago, I don't think anybody could have completely planned for that event. So try to, you know, that's what you try to do, create a plan. What are you going to do when it does happen, and be familiar with, you know, the resources you have. Just again, nobody could have prepared for the pandemic for the size and scope of that, but we're all working through that, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. So consider a SBA disaster assistance loan. You know, keep it. I'll open up our website if I have a minute here. Let's see if I can get on here. And I'll close out with that with, you know, we'll continue answering questions if there is any.
Someone stated, Mr. Johnson wanted to know, he said my class is sold out for next Tuesday. I just sent an email to the actual host to open up 50 more slots. So give it a little while for him to respond to me. But if he do not respond, if it's still closed, email me and I can send you the link to the Zoom meeting, because although it's sold out, you know, everybody never attends. So just email me and let me know that you want to attend, and I can send you the link to the class.
And you know, Angela will brag that her classes always sell out.
Always.
So you got to get in early.
We have a couple of questions that are coming in through the chat.
Yes, ma'am. Let me scroll back down.
The question that Mr. Copeland had was, have you heard of businesses focused on gangs and violence in communities?
I have not heard, don't mean that it's not there. Are you needing assistance, or are you what are you trying to do, Mr. Copeland? Are you trying to start a business? Do you already have a business that focuses on gang and violence? Are you trying to get out there? You need to know more about what you're trying to do. I would like to know what the credit score is to be able to get a loan. Greg, can you answer that?
For the disaster loans, it's very flexible, because typically during a disaster such as COVID, the credit scores really drop fairly high, but it's mainly going to be looked at as far as a payment and history as far as that. Typically, though, if you're in 650 or above for the normal SBA loan, you'll be okay as far as financing. Anything below 650, you're going to have a very good explanation of what the issues were and be able to explain it to your lender that works with you, whether it's a micro lender, nonprofit lender, or a commercial lender.
Are there funds for starting a trucking company?
Yes, typically, it depends on how much money you need. If you're looking at a small operation to buy your first truck to get started in it, the maximum loan through a micro lender is 50,000. Now, if you're looking to, you can also go to a commercial lender. We have some programs through them where you can borrow up to $5 million, depending upon the collateral and the business plan you have. And let me mention this right now. If you don't have a business plan, please get with one of our partners like a SBTC or a SCORE chapter to work with you to help you develop a business plan, because old saying is, if you do not plan, you plan to fail. So you have to have a business plan if you want to be successful in moving your business forward. And that's a free of charge offer from our SBDCs and our SCORE chapters and Women's Business Center. They're there to help you establish a business plan and also help you find a lender that may work with you to get your financing for a trucking company or any business.
Mr. Copeland, I don't think we fully answered your question, but if you send me an email, we can set up an appointment so we can discuss further what you're trying to get to, and I'll be happy to set up a meeting with you so we can go into further details on what you're trying to ask us. I work with SCORE. They are great. Okay, Ms. Evans says she worked with SCORE. Someone is asking, is this webinar will it be sent to participants? I think Sharice is going to send the webinar and the slides that Michael sent out, that Michael went over to the participants.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't see any more questions.
And what I did here, you probably see me scrolling. I went to our South Carolina website, and just as an example, hopefully you could see that. It'll show some upcoming classes in August. Like the first one I'm looking at is perfect for a couple of the questions. 8A Business Development Program eligibility. I suspect that's Angela's.
Yes, it is.
Question or class, I should say. And then this other one down here, the Federal Contract Readiness Program. That's also a good course to see if you're eligible. Kind of ties into the 8A program too. Hub Zone and Veteran Assistance right there. Yeah, I know that's Angela's too. So we will, like I said, we just went, we just skimmed through things, when people ask questions, we can get into a whole area and talk for 30, 45 minutes longer. But, the purpose today was just to do an overview. Down here, and this is on the slides too. Some other resources are listed here. This is where the Women's Business Center and things of that nature are there, our partners, and we're going to add, let's see if we added there's some of our partners. We are going to add SCCMA to this list of partners right here, because these are some, you see the Women's Business Centers, Department of Commerce, we do list African American Chamber, we do list some of the agencies that we have SAMs with. On here. Email updates, you have a direct link to that. When you click on there, it's just going to, you'll sign up based on your zip code that you enter. You'll get upcoming events. You can actually, some of the webinars they have, there's hundreds of them every day from all throughout the United States. So if it's a webinar, you can really jump on different ones.
And one more question, where do nonprofits go to find resources similar to those for-profit business? You can use the same resources. You can use SBDC, SCORE, or the Women's Business Center. There are resources for everything. Startup, nonprofit, for-profit, growing anything that your business desire. You can always go to the WBC, the Women's Business Center, Small Business Development Center, SBDC, or SCORE.
Yep. And there's a lot of expertise in those resource partners in that area.
Let me add, just if you're in a rural area, USDA has some very good programs that they work with as far as nonprofits. So that USDA Rural Development would be another avenue for you. And typically your SBDC, SCORE, Women's Business Center, they're very well aware of those programs.
We have a comment. Someone says, I have a nail salon and went to the bank to get a loan and got denied, and their credit score is 620.
Yeah, I'll address that pretty much. I think I addressed that in the earlier. If you're below 650, it's going to be difficult. Now I would suggest if you're in and would like to go to one of our micro lenders, they're a little bit more flexible with their credit scores. You may want to talk to them. We've got LDC. I think they just changed their name. I forget. Climb in Charleston, Community Works in Greenville, and Beaufort Black Chamber of Commerce and Beaufort. All those are micro lenders, but they have some reduced credit requirements typical that your typical commercial lender would look for.
And all across the top here, you can see how, as I hover over, plan your business, launch your business, manage your business. There's everything, like I said, we could talk about today is there. There's some areas, loans, lender match, investment capital, surety bonds, disaster assistance, and then grants down there. Contracting, you get into that contracting guide, it's going to walk you through every little thing. And there's our programs, the assistance programs, woman-owned, service disabled, 8A. Somebody mentioned that earlier, the mentor protege program, looking for a mentor. When you have an established business and you like the government contracting area, sometimes like the security person, you may be able to work with a large business or even another small business and form a joint venture or a mentor protege agreement, which again, we could talk 30 minutes each on those, but it's something to look at because a lot of times your mentor might be an existing business. Even if you own a restaurant, you may have a friend of a friend and somebody willing to mentor you who's actually running a business like that. And SCORE, again, most of them have run different types of businesses, and they'll try to match you up with somebody that has that experience. Learning Center, there's some they're retooling this a little bit, but there used to be a lot of online courses, and they're rebuilding this a little bit, like that you can do yourself, self-paced, local assistance, all our resource partners right there. You can find them again. So there's 2 or 3 different places to find resource partners. Our resource guide we mentioned, and other different web links. So anything, always go back to sba.gov and you'll find it there. And if you have any trouble at all, any questions, call our main number. Somebody will always answer. Email one of us. You'll have our emails on when we send out the slides too. We'll include that and maybe a couple other hyperlinks.
There's a couple more questions that just came in. Someone wants to know about how do you check your business credit score? I just emailed my coworker Savannah. There's the credit reporting company. They give you a free credit reporting once a year from all 3 credit bureaus. So as soon as she get that back to me, I can send it to Cherie. So when she sends out the presentation to everybody who's participating, it'll have that on there. And someone else said during the pandemic, many business owner credit scores have dropped significantly. How is SBA lenders addressing that?
That's a tough one, because if you're looking at commercial lending, the bankers are going to protect the interests of their stockholders, so they're going to reduce their risk. And if it's a bad credit score, they're going to do it. Some of our, like I said, the micro lenders are going to work with it. I think the guaranteed loan program right now is as lax as we can get it. The PPP loan was meant to assist that with the acceptance of reduced credit scores, but going forward, to go to a typical commercial lender, you're really going to have to look at your credit and work with them on that. It's going to be that. Some of your fintech lenders may be willing to work with you if you want to look at some of them, but it's far as credit scores, it's going to take some time to build back, not just for small businesses, but for a lot of large businesses that suffered during this pandemic crisis that we've had with lending.
Someone also asked, is there a business center or a specific program for Hispanic Latino in Charleston area like the Women's Business Center? I don't know if they have a Hispanic chamber, but I know there's one in Greenville. I can get you the information because we're forming an alliance with them also, that I will see how far I can get you their contact information, and you can see how far do they stretch. I don't know if they just cover the upstate area, or is it the entire state, but I can get the contact information for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in Greenville. Although many creditors have given extension, they still reported unpaid balances against business owners' credit. I have started an event staffing business. The only thing that I believe that I need is funding for payroll and back offices. Ms. Bryant, if you don't mind, we can talk about this offline, because you can do, depending on how much we're looking for, if it's a micro loan, we can get you to one of our resource partners that does micro loan. I think Mr. Johnson, who's on here, is from Klein Bank out of Charleston, but we also have a couple more micro lenders that can assist you. So it all depends on what you're looking for. PPP loan was denied due to reduced credit. Will there be another round of PPP loan?
At this time, there is no expectation for another round of PPP. The PPP program has ended, and no additional funding is expected through Congress.
And the person who was asking about the Hispanic Latino community in Charleston, Klein Fund, that used to be the Charleston LDC, they have 3 Spanish-speaking staff members on their staff. So you can reach out, Mr. O'Brien, if you don't mind putting your information, contact information in the chat so they can reach out to you. I'm in Columbia, would like to get a microloan information. Reach out to me, email me, Mr. I'm going to mess your name up, Nguyen, and I can get you the mic, because I know Community Work Bank service the entire state except for the Low Country area. That's where Klein Fund come into play. Klein Fund covers the Low Country PD area.
Klein will also go out of their area as long as they don't go into the Greenville area, but they kind of cross over into Columbia, but both of those can serve statewide.
Got you. Thank you, Greg. The person, Ms. Wilson, you the PPP loan you talked about that you were denied because of reduced credit. And unfortunately, the PPP loan is no longer available, but you can work with our resource partners. If you're having issue with your credit, they can assist you with getting the getting your credit score. Because I know with Community Work Bank, they work with small businesses to get their score where it needs to be. And they also a bank, they have a women's business center, and they're also a bank. So once they get your credit score to where it needs to be, they can walk you to a lender and walk you through the loan process. So that's another avenue if you still need funding. Any more questions? Greg, Dr. Costa, I don't see any more questions. Nothing else has popped up. You all can close us out.
All right. What a great presentation. We appreciate you, SBA. For our participants who are on the call today, you have received a lot of information. Don't panic. We are going to have learning sessions in the future where we break each of these areas down so that you can participate to learn more about everything from business development to funding your business. We want to make sure that there are no questions unanswered. So therefore, we'll be working closely with SBA and our other partners to provide the kind of resources you need to keep your business growing and healthy. Thank you so much for participating, and we look forward to future ventures with all of you. If you have not registered your business with CMA, please do so by going to cma.sc.gov so that we can keep you informed on what we're doing, and we will be available to answer any questions you have and refer them to our partners. I turn it over to you, Mr. White.
Dr. DaCosta, I just again want to thank you for your partnership through this program and working with SBA in the future. Again, I give you my word that this is just not going to be a piece of paper that's in writing. It's going to be action items that we work with. And again, you have the same mandate as we do to help small, underserved areas and minority businesses grow, expand, and recover from existing disasters such as COVID. So please, if anyone needs assistance, please call our office at 803-765-5377 or email us, and we'll be glad to provide what assistance we can. And any of your members, Dolores, just thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And everybody just enjoy the rest of the week and a good weekend.